Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's lovely to see you all. And let's go straight into the superpower state. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state however you do that. So by repeating your word or phrase, or using your anchor, or by focusing in on your subject. And start to feel that opening feeling in your chest, that expansion feeling as your heart opens. Very good. And allow that light or energy to shine out from your heart. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. And fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body with that same light, that energy, that love. Love each cell just for existing. Good, very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill the little you, yourself as a child, any age, with that same light, that energy, that love. Loving that child, loving that little you just for existing and no matter what. Allowing that little you to be filled with this power, with their own power. And then allowing that light, that energy to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood with that same light, that energy, that love, no matter what. Filling every person, everything, every circumstance, every event, regardless, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all anyway. Very, very good. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from you and fill the whole group, everybody who's in this group today, those who are on camera, those who are off camera, loving each one just for existing. Good job. Very, very good. All right, you can open your eyes if you haven't closed. And we're going to check in with each person, and then I have something that I will, in fact, I'll share this first quickly. So Steve and I were talking this morning about letting go of things. So letting go of fear, for example. And something I thought of is that it's not so much about letting go of it as it is about getting to the point where you know that it's not necessary. So if, for example, you were, yes, Steve, I forgot to look up that cave shadow thing. I don't know if you know what it is, but somebody created something a while ago that where there's a person in a cave and there's the shadow of a monster. And so they're terrified. But when they turn round, there's a fire and it's their own shadow that's just being distorted on the wall of the cave. So it's not about looking at the monster and saying, let go of the fear, because that's a difficult thing to do. It's about turning around and seeing evidence that there is no monster. There is no reason for fear. So, for example, that fear of worried about what people will think. I can't, put myself out there, or I can't speak up because people will think such and such, or people will judge me. This is just, one example. So rather than trying to make yourself get rid of the fear or let go of the fear of what people may think, it's about changing the evidence that proves Number one, that people think that, and number two, that that's somehow dangerous or bad for you. So you change that evidence, then you know there's no reason for the fear. So then letting go of the fear is then automatic and long lasting because there's no reason for it. So I hope that helps. And if not, if you need more explanation or clarification on that, let me know. All right, so Swasti, you're first up on my screen today. How are you today?
Hello, I was just planning out my questions.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you. So something you told me yesterday freed me up a little bit. So even if I do continue to take this IQ exam and try for medicine, I'm now thinking of it as a fun game. It's an IQ test to just like know what my IQ is. It's fun.
Fantastic.
And yeah, I might not even use this. So the pressure is definitely less. Thank you.
Yes, well done. I'm so thrilled to hear that. Good job.
Thank you. But I have this, so we've talked about this before, but this limiting belief, I guess, of you are like not smart and you are dumb and stupid. And I've worked on it a couple of times, but every time somebody like even slightly suggests that I'm not smart or I'm dumb, I do get triggered. So I know there's something else there. So I don't know what that could be linked to, like what more.
Okay. So good. Well done for spotting that. That's good. And I must tell you that I used to have that. So I used to be very sensitive to being thought of as stupid. And I was easily triggered, even when people weren't actually saying anything like that. I was hyper alert for it. And for me, I realized my mum used to just have a habit, and she didn't mean I was stupid, but she had a habit of going, "Oh, don't be so stupid, Odille." And so my little brain took that literally. Now, so for you, it might be something else, but let's see if we can find out what is someone thinking you're stupid, what does that feel like? What's the emotion there?
Like, no, I'm not stupid.
Good. And what's
like anger and frustration.
Anger and frustration. Good. And so what when you think of someone saying you're stupid, what's wrong with them thinking you're stupid? Because
they're insulting me.
Pardon?
It could like that to me, that insulting me.
Okay, and how do you know it's insulting to be thought of as stupid? Because some people may not see it as insulting. Some people may see it as, well, they're just wrong. But so what is it that's insulting about it? If you can. If you can't, that's okay.
It's probably like comparison to others.
Yes.
So why am I not the smartest? Because like when I was young, I always wanted to be number one in everything.
Yes.
Slowly that got faded away, and now I think it's back. But I really, I want to be the best. And if you are the best, you're smart.
Right. Okay. So so that makes perfect sense from what you've told me of your childhood, because to you, so it's not just I want to be number one, it's I have to be number one or I will die.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because so that's a huge thing there, and that's why it's so strong, and that's why no amount of conscious reasoning, like I don't have to be, or it doesn't matter, none of that's going to help, because you know there's your subconscious is convinced that that's what you need to do to survive.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah.
Very good. So if you've got any memories that are left about your cousin and all of that kind of thing, or anything else, change those. And if not, start creating new memories, or once you've changed them, start creating new memories of where you are always the cleverest. You're the top of the class, always. It's just repeated. And so perhaps also you can create some memories where you've switched places with your cousin. So it's your cousin that's feeling like, you know, I wish I could be, you know, why can't I have that? Why can't I be that? So, and make them really strong. Have plenty of people talking about you. So your parents are talking to other people about you and saying, Swasti, you know, we're so proud of her. She's, you know, she's always top of her class. you know, that kind of thing, so that it's you creating lots of resources to support.
Lots of references, yeah.
Yes. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? And
Yeah.
thank you for bringing this up, because for other people as well, you know, one resource is probably not going to do it, because you've got a lifetime and certainly a childhood full of resources that are all interconnected and supporting each other. So you want to create several different ones that are supporting that end result.
Okay.
Sound
Yeah.
good?
Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
very welcome. And then test it.
Sorry.
But then test it. So you practice those new memories. So you change any that are contradicting. You create new ones. You practice the new ones. And then once you've established that, then imagine someone literally calling you stupid to your face, going, "Oh, you're so stupid, Swasti," and notice what happens inside you. And if there's still anything there, go back, check that, make sure everything's fine, and practice it again. Keep doing that until you can imagine someone calling you stupid, and you just find it funny, or, you know, it's just like, meh, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It has no meaning anymore.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So can I also do this? So I've tried this before, and I think it worked quite well. But you know, the affirmations, so as you say, so I would say, "I am so smart," and then I would close my eyes, and whatever comes up, I would change. Can I also do it that way? And then create new ones? Okay.
Absolutely. And not just "I am so smart," but everyone thinks I'm smart, or everyone knows I'm smart. Let's put it that way. Everyone knows I'm smart. And then notice who comes, if any people come up, or any emotions and thoughts. And again, remember to trace it to your childhood. So even if it's someone now, what does this or who do they remind me of from my childhood, and make sure that those references are changed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Very well.
I just had another quick question about the superpower from yesterday. I got a few question marks as well, like everybody else did. So if let's say I was sending it to my teachers for the grades, so because they're deciding the grades.
Yes.
This happened to me the other day, and it felt really good, but I don't know if this is okay or not. But so I would send the love to the teachers, so I would feel it and the light, and then my teachers together would was sending their love to the envelope that I would open on the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, now what you want to make sure, so that's fantastic. Now you want to make sure that the feeling, you're able to maintain that feeling and the light and love, if what's in that envelope is what you don't want.
Yeah, I struggle with that. I get quite anxious when I think of that.
Yes. So then keep practicing on easier targets.
Yeah.
Build that ability, because it does, you know, it's such a foreign concept to love something that we don't want, or that we're frightened of, or that we're angry about, or whatever. It's such a foreign concept because of what we've learned about what love is. But the fact that it's a foreign concept just means you just need more repetition, more reminding yourself of it is not an emotion, it's a power. And in fact, you could put, you know, a suggestion for people, you could put it on post-it notes or notices around you, create a poster for it or whatever that says, love is not an emotion, it's a power. Or unconditional love is not an emotion, it's a power, or something like that. And use things that you've seen, like Harry Potter, or any other programs, TV programs or movies where people are using magic, so you've got the visual effect. And keep connecting that, and you'll have already felt it, so you'll know what you're looking for. It's like tuning in a radio station, and then it really is just practice and developing that skill and conditioning. So what you're looking for is to be able to fill those teachers with that light and that love, even if they don't give you the results you want. And the same with the envelope. Whatever's in that envelope, send that. And remember, it's shining light into darkness. And you can start by sending it to the teachers, you know, if they do give you the results you want, and them sending to the envelope like you just described. Everything works out perfectly, and then step it up that level.
Okay.
Because what you're doing then, and I'm saying this for everyone else as well, as you love something that you don't want, you're releasing it from your experience. That's another way to look at it and to remind yourself, as you love what you don't want, you are releasing it from. All right.
Okay.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Good, good.
Yeah, it's just the stepping up. Yeah, I will practice on objects.
Very good. Good job, Swasti. And thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Yay, I'm so excited for you. All right. And Lisa, how are you today?
Oh, fine. How are you?
Good. Very well, thank you.
Wave your wand Wednesday.
Lovely.
So I'm going to read something really quick. And it's, I love and accept myself right now. So unconditional love is love without no expectations. It is accepting what is. So it's so important to love ourselves at all times and then love everything and everyone around us. So what you're saying is so powerful. You love what you don't want, and then you release it. I wrote it down, so I'm reading it.
Oh, good.
Release it from your experience. Yeah, because it's so easy to just like, whoa, okay, they said this, and now what do I do? Because if you're real sensitive, you take it on.
Exactly.
And you tend to take on other people's stuff, and you know it's not yours, but
that's it.
You just have to love them for happy speech.
Yeah. So here's a thank you for mentioning this, because I've just remembered another analogy I used years ago for this. Is if you imagine a child comes to you and they're saying, and they want you to put this picture that they've drawn, but it's a terrible picture, but they want you to put it up in your professional office, okay, framed as a proper picture, and you don't want to do that. Now, the more you argue and the more you say, oh no, but it's not nice, the more that child is going to be desperate for you to approve, to say yes, and whatever. But if you say to the child, you know what, this is beautiful. Thank you so much for doing it. I really appreciate it. So there you're loving it unconditionally. And then you say, it's too precious to put here. I want to put it where I can see it all the time. And you put it, in a private place where you can see it. But so I don't know if that's not a perfect analogy, but hopefully that helps, that difference between struggling with the thing and going, it's okay, and you diffuse. All right. That's good. Swasti says that so beautiful. It gives me goosebumps. Good. I'm glad. Thank you.
That's very good. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. You're welcome, Lisa. And did you have any questions for today or anything?
No, I'm good. I'm really good.
Very good. It's lovely to have you with us as always.
Thank you.
All right. And Chris, you're next up on my screen. How are you today?
I'm really well, thank you. I was just talking to Steve earlier. I'm sitting downstairs in the hall. Okay. On a little stall, which is often a nice, quiet little place. Just coming from a long journey, and on the journey, I managed to listen to Dr. David Hamilton's course, his little free course on the kindness and love, and so I'm recommending that for a start to anyone who wants to Google it. Yes. So that was lovely, and then it brought me to thinking about something I'd thought about earlier this morning, sitting on the same little stool before I went out. There was just something came to my mind, and I was just thinking, well, I've got a whole treasure chest of love. That's how it came to me as a visual, or just as the words came out. Because everything that I used to consider as the worst things that have created all the mental angst and psychological problems that I felt have overwhelmed my life, but somehow they've all turned into this treasure chest of love, because somehow or other, I think I always knew it was all done in love, or the perception of love of the people who were caring for me as a child. So that was just a lovely moment. That everything that I felt was bad was actually the best, beautiful stuff. So
Perfect.
Very rich and very loved and very happy and loved.
Oh, that is wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing that, because I know it will encourage others as well. And well done. What a
Well,
beautiful...
it's because, from all the work we've done over the recent years and you know, whole of life, but nevertheless all coming together in this, it's been sort of a transformation. So thanking you all.
Fantastic. Yay. I'm so excited for you. Good job.
I do have a question, but unfortunately I have to go move cars because my boyfriend's just come back.
Oh,
so thank you. Maybe tomorrow I might be able to talk about the commitment and responsibility is my other big area.
okay.
Perhaps that's something if we want to talk to anyone about.
Yes.
What can be behind my head is, it doesn't always deal with responsibility very easily. Responsibility. Okay. Yeah,
I will.
Another time.
Yeah, I'll wait for tomorrow so I can ask you questions and we can get to the bottom of it. Okay. All right.
Many thanks.
You're very welcome.
Sending all of my love, though.
And to you. Lots of love to you. Yeah. All right. And Katrina. Hi, Katrina. How are you today?
Hi, Odille. I have a headache.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So, just that, and what else? Yes, I still need help with this. Is it the power surge? Is that what you call it?
The surge, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not practicing it because I still don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling as I do it.
I've got a new analogy that's just popped into my head now for it. So good timing that. All right. So as you were saying that, I've got a new way of describing it that may help. So if you imagine, so we're shining this light out from the heart, from the chest, the heart, and yes, and it feels like unconditional love, and you're aiming it at things. Now the surge is if you imagine you've got a dimmer switch and you turn it brighter. So you turn up the intensity of the bright light. What happens? It shines brighter, it's bigger, it's stronger. Does that, and you just do it for a moment and then you turn it back down to normal again. So you're putting on your brights. You know, when you're driving in a car, there's another one. You're driving a car and there's no street lights and there's no other cars. So you put your brights on, but as soon as another car comes, you put it back to normal. So surging is that moment of bright. It's a kind of a flash, or it's just turning up the intensity momentarily. Does that help?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Good. All right. So now let's look at the headache. So when did the headache start, or when did you notice it?
I would say today about, what is it now? 4. Lunchtime, say, today.
Okay. Very good. And what else was happening in your life around that time, if anything?
I was busy doing stuff, and I had stuff to be sorted for tomorrow morning, and you know, I was getting behind. It was like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere. And then I thought, right, it had to get priority over our work.
Yes.
So for 2 days, then there was no time yesterday, and there was no time today, and I wasn't even going to come on today, and thought, no, we just bloody well are going on today.
Good for you. Well done. Well done. It's prioritizing what's going to make the difference. It's prioritizing sharpening the saw without trying to continue to chop the tree down or saw the tree down with a blunt saw. So that was a good move. Well done. And so so let's look at this. So the stuff that you need to get ready for tomorrow. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about getting it ready? And how do you feel about the thing, whatever it is tomorrow that needs to be ready for?
It's new, no, but I'm 90% there because I have to go off this evening. So there's no time tonight.
Yes.
So it's dinner tonight and then I'm away.
Right.
So no, it's sorted, But
Okay.
it's like, oh, I'm drained. Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you feel about it? Is it a nice thing?
Oh, it will be grand. Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right. And what about the preparing? So when you were doing whatever you had to do to prepare over the last couple of days, was it fun preparing?
I actually think, yes, it wasn't too, it was more than I thought, but I think it's actually the weather.
Okay.
There's a like a heaviness in the air.
Yes. Okay, so that can do it. Now let's look, that heaviness in the air of the weather. Anything come to mind from childhood? And it may or may not be weather, it could be something else. Anything about heaviness in the air? And if not, that's okay.
I'll be making it up. I can't think.
That's okay. And if something comes to mind that doesn't appear to be connected, say it anyway, because it may be connected, you know, in a non-logical way. So then the other thing is that heaviness in the air, if that was or the weather, whichever you prefer, if that was a person, who would it be?
Well, I have a friend at the moment who I just rang, and we're making arrangements. You know, she might fit in with tonight, she might not. So, but there's a lot going on in her family.
Okay.
And she's telling me about it, and there's no point in telling her anything because do you know what I mean? She's not willing to listen. She has no interest in anything. She just wants to talk about it, but she doesn't want help.
Okay. All right. So now, when did you call her? When was that phone call?
Say about 3.
About 3. Okay. So the headache started before that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's look at what's wrong with the headache. What's the worst? What kind of pain is it? Is it like a dull pain, a sharp pain?
It's sort of here.
So it's right at the front.
It's dull.
It's a dull pain right at the front. And if you were to give a meaning to it, what meaning would you give? What does it mean? What thoughts come when you think of it? What's the worst thing about it? Anything like that?
It's probably annoying and it's making me very tired.
Annoying and tired. Very good. Okay, so now let's look to your childhood. Feeling tired, feeling annoyed. Any situations as a child, and it may not make sense, but say it anyway, whatever comes up. Any situations when you were a child where you were being annoyed and you were tired, anything like that?
Actually, there's a sick feeling. I'll tell you something else. There's sort of a sick feeling going on as well. Oh. I started to take tablets yesterday, and they were for water retention. Mm-hmm. I feel as if I've blown up.
Okay.
Could be something to do with them, maybe? No?
It could be. I would definitely double check that. That's very possible. So I would check you can check with the NHS helpline or online thing, or if you've got someone you can call. I would definitely check on that because that sounds like it's very, very possible. Have you? Sorry,
it's the tablets are herbal.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing with herbal stuff is that because something's herbal doesn't mean it doesn't have side effects and that it won't do damage. So it will depend on the person and your own body's reaction to it. So it's always worth still running it by a medical professional.
Okay.
You know, say, and I remember with the NHS site, it makes it really easy. If you go to the NHS site where you can put in symptoms, and it's just, you just fill in the symptoms and you just follow through this. It's really, really good. And it'll tell you either what you can do to help or contact your doctor or whatever. It'll give you, they do that to limit the, to reduce the amount of people going to the doctor unnecessarily. So it's, as I remember, it's a very good resource, and it's quick, easy, quick and easy to use.
And what NHSS?
The NHS.
Oh, the NHS. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's, if you put in something like NHS symptoms or something like that, it'll bring that, it'll give you that site. Unfortunately, that's just for over there. Unfortunately, we can't do it here for anybody who's American watching, but there's probably the equivalent. Oh, there you go. Swasti has posted a link for you.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
And for anyone else in the UK, nhs.uk/conditions/headaches. So yeah, have a look at that. All right. And then,
sorry, what was I going to say?
I just want to say, in addition to that, check the childhood memories in that as well, so that you're doing both.
I'm just going to say that the fact that I have stopped, it seems to be easy. I think it's because it was a constant of no stopping.
Yes. I mean, it sounds like tension. It sounds like, you know, tension and stress. Yeah. Because of that, you know, that time limit and having so much to do and that kind of thing. So physiologically, yes, but also check the references, because not everyone gets tension headaches. So there are, you know, I can't remember, I probably count on one hand the number of times I've had a headache in my life. So even when I used to get migraines, there was no headache with them, there was just the vision. So but I spent a lot of time stressed. So it depends on what references are there, as well as the physiological state. So in addition to the medical thing, also, did anyone else in your family when you were growing up have headaches, you know, and change any pressure, stress, that kind of thing. Make sure that all those childhood memories are happy and relaxed and laid back. There's always plenty of time for everything. And no expectations.
Plenty of time for everything. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh,
yes.
You're very welcome. And thank you, Swasti, for sharing that link. Okay. So that's everyone on camera. Steve, is there anything?
Couple of things. And I did notice, although it looks like she may be having trouble with her device, Chris Thomas did get back on the call. So we can come back to that, but there is a question, a couple of things.
Oh, sorry, while you're thinking, I want to just read this out for those watching the video and those who can't see the chat. Steve shared the thing about the cave and the shadow. It's Plato, the allegory of the cave. He says Plato's allegory of the cave, and in fact, Steve has put a link there. So if you do a search for allegory of the cave, you'll be able to get that, and we'll put the link in the description of this video for those watching the recording. All right.
Yeah, so a question that we can address, makes perfect sense about feeling unconditional love for yourself and others, but should I say something when people in my life are demonstrating otherwise?
Oh, good question. Very, very good question. And there will be others with that same question. So because we can't change other people, we can't make them, we can ask and we can request, but we can't make them change. The answer is always to go inside yourself. So it's first. So you go inside yourself, you make sure you are treating yourself the way you want them to treat you. So you make sure that you are filled with unconditional love for yourself, and that you're not triggered by them or their behavior. And then what will happen, because you'll bring your prefrontal cortex back online, you will know automatically the most effective and strategic action to take, way to communicate with them, and so on. While you're triggered, while you are feeling upset or hurt or angry or frustrated, whatever you're feeling, or that they shouldn't be like that, anything like that, you don't have that part of your brain online. So you're just physically not able to make those decisions and see the best way, the most effective way. So the answer is, think of it like a remote control. So if there's so that person's behavior, the way they're treated. Now, obviously, if you're in physical danger, obviously make sure that you get to safety. That is the top priority. So if you're in a situation where someone could hurt you physically, make sure that you do whatever it takes to get yourself safe. Make that your top priority. So presuming that you're physically safe, anything a person says may hurt, it may be frustrating, it may be unfair, it may be unjust. There's a lot of that kind of thing, a lot of options for feeling triggered by it. But if your life is not in danger, then the best option, or you're physically in danger, the best option is to look inside yourself and make sure that you fill yourself with because that's the only power you have, is your own chemical state. So, and your own perception and focus. Now, if you think of it like you're watching TV and that person's behavior, the way they are behaving towards you, the things they're saying or what they're doing or not doing, is like a program that you really don't want to watch. There's a show on that TV that you don't want to watch. Now, instead of asking them to change it and being frustrated because they don't change it, the remote control is inside you. So you're watching this program and it's not nice. It's like you're sitting on the remote control. So the idea is to take the remote control and change your experience of it, which means change your focus and use the techniques that we teach so that you're able to change your chemical state so you feel differently, you feel fantastic. So someone can sit there and say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and you can just go, yes, anyway, and just carry on with what you're doing. But the key to that is changing the references. So what does it mean when this person says or does whatever they're doing? Okay, so I hope that helps, but if not, let me know and I'll give some more clarification. All right, and anything else?
And if you want to check in, Chris is back online.
Ah, great. Hi, Chris. All right, so responsibility and commitment.
Hello again.
Hello.
Yes.
So what's the problem with responsibility and commitment?
Well, responsibility. I have this. It's to do with how I see my perfect life. My perfect life tends to have nobody in it. I want to go and live on my own.
Okay.
Or I want to be on my own. Or I talk about being in my own place, and I only want to be responsible for myself. I hear myself saying this.
Yes.
Yeah. And yet, I'm also aware that I love my children, my grandchildren. The whole idea of not having them somewhere that I can see them quickly if I want to is also not doesn't come into my idea of happiness. So it's contrast. And then I've done a lot of work around space, having my own space. What's that about? Where does that come from? Yeah, I've got quite a few ideas. I'm just quite interested to hear your take. Yeah, and when I did a little bit of research, like a lot in terms of psychology, responsibility can represent things like not wanting to grow up, not wanting to leave your child. Fear of death even is another big theme. So there's a few things there I play with. All
right. So very good. So yes, so there's a couple of things that come to mind. First of all, the reason for the contradiction is because it's not about being on your own. So it's like I'm really hungry, but when I have this, orange, it doesn't seem to satisfy my hunger. And that's because it's not about the food. It's about emotions or something like that. So it's not about being on your own or being alone or having physical space. It's about an emotional state. So and that's why it doesn't, you know, if you were, let's say you were to find yourself that you're able to have that opportunity to be completely alone with no contact. And I know someone else who's had this issue, with no contact with anyone. And so you've got your wish, so your wish was granted. You would find that wouldn't solve the problem. You would be feeling something else is wrong, something else is wrong. Okay. So the answer is, now, just from the little bit that I know about your childhood, you were one, am I right in thinking you had several siblings?
Yeah, one of five. There were five of us.
Yes. So have you recreated new memories where you are the only one?
Now they're all like that from what we've been doing recently. Yeah, I'm definitely the only one.
Good, good, good. And do you have a beautiful bedroom, your own room, so it's beautifully decorated?
Oh, no, I haven't got that yet. It's more I have mummy all to myself, really.
Good. So that's good. Keep that. Yeah. And then also create your beautiful new room, so that decorated exactly as you would like, and it's yours. That's only yours. Also make sure that you know, you have things and people that are just yours. Now, the other thing that I want to check in on is the feeling of responsive. So being with other people, what's the problem with being with other people? What's the worst thing about it?
Well, I will then become what I think they want me to be. That's the message. Yeah. So there's that.
Very good. And what would it be
like?
like?
Of that childhood permission.
Yes. And so what would it be like if you didn't do that? What are you worried about? If you
I wrote, so Saturday morning I heard somebody speaking. I thought, I think I want to come out. You know, if I was gay, I could come out. I feel that I just want to come out. I want to be the real me. There's
what bad thing would happen if you did that?
Nothing. Well, nothing bad.
Yes.
But it's something. It's an unknown. There's a fear around. What would that be, and how would that look?
Right.
Fear there.
Yes. So now let's imagine little you. So little Chris, now, were you ever told that you couldn't be yourself, or stopped from having fun, or stopped from expressing yourself, or anything like that, anything that comes to mind?
Nothing specific. However, it was a very repressed childhood.
Yes.
We were treated as one, and we were just treated as a group. There was no individuality.
Yes, there's the link. Okay, so you were treated all the same, or all as one, and no individuality. So now you've got memories where you're the only child. Now you want to create references where you have the other siblings, but you stand out. You are the most important one. You're the one, you know, like we were doing with Katrina, because she was the only girl. Now she has special status and all of that. So whatever will give you that feeling that you have so you've got keep the memories where you're the only child. That's important. Now you're going to create additional references where the other siblings are there, but you are the one that comes first, always. You're the one so create memories of you receiving gifts and whatever you would want, you know, pets and whatever, and the others don't have. The others don't get it. You get, and they don't get. You get attention and love, and they're sitting there going, "Oh, you're so lucky," but they're okay with it. But they don't envy you, but they want to be you. So it's, "Oh, I wish I could be like you." Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It's quite a difficult thing, though, isn't it? Because there's the altruistic side, which will be thinking, "Oh, but I'll share with you," or I want to. That doesn't seem fair somehow.
And
however, I know my subconscious. Yeah.
Right, and that is exactly what holds us back from success, abundance, happy relationships. That training that we have to put other people first. We have to share. We must be considerate of other people. Well, what about them? that, if you think about it, it's all very well for manners and being polite and caring about others, but the problem is that the subconscious doesn't reason. And so what the subconscious receives is, I'm not as important as other people. And we don't consciously realize that, but it affects every decision we make, the way we look at all situations, the way we behave, whether we can ask someone for something or not, how much we can charge for what we provide. All of that is affected by this. And it's not just I was taught that, we were conditioned that way.
It was conditioned
by repetition over and over and reinforcement. So we are, most of us in our culture are raised with the programming that others are more important, which, as I say, is fine with social things, but it can mean death as far as evolution goes.
It is. In creating those stories, the thing is, I like my sisters. They didn't have an issue. Well, one of them was a bit difficult, but anyway. But so that is the other part of this, to make a story. I can make a story just about me, but to have them in it,
yes,
and making them lesser or not as me, the bigger.
Yes.
It's I like them.
Yeah, so it's going to get your brain, because here's the thing, this is not real.
No, that's
whatever you imagine in your head is not actually, you're not doing anything to them at all. This is for the child in you. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine there's a child, one of your grandchildren, and you want that grandchild to feel amazing. You want their self-esteem. You want them to be a confident, happy, healthy adult. And so they are in a group of children, and you want your grandchild to feel special. Now, do you say to your grandchild, you're all the same? Or do you say to your grandchild, you are my favorite, you're the one that, and it doesn't take anything away from the others, but you are the one that is important, that is the most wonderful, you're the best child in the world. So that you program that, because, and here's another misconception that a lot of people have, is that if a child is spoiled and told they're wonderful all the time, that they will become an arrogant, ungrateful person. And it is the complete opposite. So arrogance and lack of gratitude comes from a lack, not too much, of genuine, authentic love, affection, boosting, self-confidence, value.
Yeah.
So treat that little you the way you would your grandchild, perhaps. Does that make sense, or is that not really applicable?
No, that does very much, because I see I've had 4 grandchildren, and I see them together, and I realize how I'm very it's not quite territorial, but yeah, each one has to know that they are the best.
Yes.
Let's put it that way. So I make sure they do know that.
In an ideal world, anyone with more than one child or more than one grandchild would, yes, give all of them the same opportunity, but you would spend time with each one individually, based on what that little one likes doing, is good at, whatever, completely focused only on that particular child and everything everything in their world. And then the same for the next one, and so on. That's really what would strengthen those children. So it's not about they're not loved, it's about complete focus. Does that help?
Yeah. Oh yes. No, of course. It fits very well. And
if you can
that way into me, I can do it. I can do that, because I really get the child in me now.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. That's it. So you're doing this for the child in you.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. And Chris, if you can crack that, I guarantee you will see astronomical changes. If you can crack that, where you are comfortable and you know that you are special above everybody else, that's when your life is really going to change.
I'll add a couple of words, just from my own experience, having worked through, I think, a similar issue to you, Chris, that feeling of being one of 5 children myself, and that feeling of being taught, you got to put other people first, that kind of thing. It was just a natural program. So earlier in my life, when I was working as a traditional psychotherapist, that feeling, I think, was present a lot. I would come home at the end of the day exhausted, because there wasn't any, I was always about putting other people first. So as I did the work and started to make the changes for myself, and you're working and realizing that making these changes and filling yourself up first actually now puts me in a position where I can spend the entire day doing this and feel energized at the end of the day. So if it's any encouragement or help, as you do the work, you really have even that exponentially more to be able to give to other people than if you're operating from that place of, I have to put everybody else first and I can't have anything.
Really
so I don't know if that helps.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, it does. It very much does. And again,
that is spot on. And Chris, the part of you that is feeling like you just want to be alone and you don't want your ideal situations to not have anybody there, that's you trying to protect yourself. Because you don't realize, you don't have the protection, the automatic protection of knowing that you are. So it's that thing of, and this is the other person I was talking about who had this, it was because she felt she always had to, somebody always wanted something of her, even if it was just her attention or her time, and she didn't know how to just be strong in herself and know that I don't need to do anything I don't want to do. And that's okay. And if people are upset or not, that's okay, as long as I'm strong and loving, and loving, number one, to myself, and allowing that to overflow to others. So and the other way to look at this, putting yourself, creating memories of you being higher than the others or more privileged than the others, is you can add to that so your subconscious is not going to question it. Your subconscious is not going to say, oh, but that's not nice and that's not fair, and what about them and that. Your subconscious is not going to do that. Your subconscious will just accept whatever. As long as you provide the proof in the form of memories, it will accept it. But your conscious mind might do it. So, and in answer to your conscious mind, if you were climbing a mountain and you were with your siblings or whoever else, now if you were ahead, if you get to the top first, then you can help them. You can show them the way, you can give them a hand or throw a rope or whatever. But if you keep going behind them and trying to push them, or not, not wanting to go ahead of them, then you could all stay on that mountain forever, right? You want to, so by you going ahead, by you getting out or to the top or whatever, you're able, like Steve was saying, then you're of more benefit to others anyway, from a position of strength and empowerment and empowering. Does that help?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's good. As in an aeroplane, you're always told in an emergency, you put your mask on, and of course.
Exactly. And it's not because you don't care about the others, it's because you won't be in a position to help anybody if you don't.
And the nature of love, I've noticed, giving more love, not more, but giving more love to one doesn't mean others get less. It's, in children, right. You know that one, because children always say, well, how can you love the next child as much as you love the first? But somehow or other, it's because the first one, your love is overflowing, that you have the next, and then it overflows into the next. It's not a diminishing of love. It grows,
Exactly, spot on. And the more you love, the more you're filled with love. Yeah. And of course, on a, that's on that level, on a physiological level, the more you focus on something that you love, the more your brain and body are pumping those chemicals into your system. Yeah. Those feel-good chemicals. And there's no end to that. Yeah. And it's the opposite. So the more you do it, the more those chemicals are produced. The only time it does start diminishing is when you stop loving, when you take your focus off and you focus on something that triggers you or upsets you or whatever, then those chemicals come down, not the other way around. Very
Good,
good. Good
good.
job,
And
Chris. Thank you.
therefore, I have a treasure chest. That's why my treasure
There you
chest is
go.
so full. But I'll use it on me too. Well, I do use it on me.
And so something else that's just occurred to me is you can
Mm.
you can create a scene where
Mm.
you've got the little you in front of you. You can present her with that chest.
Oh, that's lovely.
She's the only one who gets it. And it's up to her whether she wants to share it or let the others look at it or whatever, but it's her treasure chest. How's that?
I love it.
Good.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Chris, for sharing, because I know it'll help others as well. Very good. All right, so we better get on with the targeting. So, Steve, if you could send me the list of targets, please. Thank you. All right, so take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state. So either by repeating your word or phrase, using your anchor, or by focusing on your subject. Feel that opening in your heart, that expansion feeling in your chest as that light or energy shines out from you. And allow that light, that energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each one just for existing. All of those cute little cells, love each one. And now allow that light, that energy to fill your subject, whatever your subject is. Love that subject just for existing. And imagine your subject doesn't want to be with you or doesn't have the qualities that you love and admire about them. And keep them filled with that love anyway. Love them anyway, exactly as they are and without any need for change. Just for existing. Good job. Now let's go to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that same light, that energy, that love. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill everyone on the planet and their financial situations and any fear. Fill all of that with that light, that energy, that love, exactly as it is and without needing it to change, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all anyway. Very, very good. Good job. And now let's go to Chris. Fill Chris with that same light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Chris, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Chris and fill the part of her that feels resistance to responsibility, that feels it wants to be alone. Love it exactly as it is, no matter what. Shining that light into any darkness. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Chris and fill everyone in her life, whether they're around or not, whether she feels responsible or not. Love everything and everyone exactly as it is, no matter what they do or say. or don't do, don't say, whatever's there, shining that light into any darkness. Good job. All right, now let's go to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips, love Swasti, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Swasti and fill the part of her that is trying to love what isn't wanted, whether she's able to love what's not wanted or not. Love that, shining that light into any darkness, and allowing that light or energy to overflow to any and all results. The teachers who will be deciding on the grades, the marks, the envelope with whatever's in it. So whether the results are what you want or not, fill that all with that light, that love, that energy. Whether Swasti gets what she wants or not, love it all, shining that light into any darkness. So let's imagine that envelope having the news that she doesn't want in it, and keep it filled with that light, that energy, that love, loving it anyway, shining that light into the darkness. Very, very good. And now to Katrina. Fill Katrina with that same light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips, love Katrina, just for existing. Very good. And now the part of Katrina's head that hurts, the headache, fill that with the same light, that energy, that love, exactly as it is, whether it hurts or not, whether it goes away or not, love it exactly as it is, shining that light into the darkness, loving it all anyway. Very good. And now to Carrie. Fill Carrie with that same light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Carrie just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Carrie and fill everything and everyone in her life, no matter what. Whatever's going on, fill it all with that light, that energy, that love, loving it all anyway, shining that light into any darkness. Good job. And now to those who are off camera, everybody who's dealing, and on camera, everybody who's dealing with family situations, difficult family situations, whatever those may be. Fill the people with that light, that energy. Fill the family members with that light, that energy, no matter what, exactly as they are, shining that light into the darkness. Loving each cell of that person's body, each cute little cell, shining that light into them and loving each cell, no matter what, shining that light into the darkness. And now to everyone who's off camera and everyone who's watching the recording, fill each one with that light, that energy, that love, loving each one just for existing, no matter what. Feel your heart expanding as you do that. Very good. And the more you do this, the stronger that feeling of love will get. And now, think of yourself later today, whatever you'll be doing, feeling, or experiencing. Love that version of you exactly as they are, without needing them to change or without any conditions. Just fill that version of you with that light, that energy, that power, no matter what, shining that light into any darkness. And now pick a target. Pick a target in your life or in the world, and aim this light, this energy, this love at that target, filling it with the light, filling it with this energy and loving it exactly as it is without needing it to change, shining this light into any darkness. And now turn up the dimmer switch and surge. Very good. And again. Good job. All right. And you can open your eyes. So how's everyone doing? Oh, we've got, Steve says from Lisa, I have good news. I was asked to speak at a school as a guest author. Fantastic. When they go back in August. And I had seen myself as a child author when I took your wonderful workshop. I was told in the past few days, my books are being seen more and more, and I had seen myself with millions of kids loving my books. Yay, thank you. You're very welcome and well done. How fantastic is that? That is a beautiful example. So well done, Lisa. I am so excited for you and so proud of you. Good job. That is fantastic. All right. And thank you so much for sharing it as well, because it encourages others. So whatever it is you want, like Lisa did, create that in your childhood to prove it, to provide the evidence to your subconscious that proves whatever it is, the results you want now. That's a beautiful example. Thank you, Lisa. All right, everyone. And so now we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And look after yourselves, keep practicing, keep watching these recordings if it helps you to remind you and to keep you practicing. All right, bye-bye everybody. Have a fantastic day.